G'day guys, welcome back. Today's episode is going to be on setting up the first sheet of a roof. So the first step of this is to set up our string line. So what I'm using to set up our string line today is just one of our Kliplock clips, and what we do, we can just fix that to the truss and onto our batten and just let it overhang 200mm into the box cutter. What we'll do, we'll just put a screw into there, the part that's running into our box cutter. I like to put it in at about 110mm. So I'm going to do that now. I'll set up the other side and I'll give you a look. Alright guys, so I've got this clip on. As I said, I've fixed through the truss onto the batten and just let it overhang. So I've set my screw up here at 110mm into the box cutter. And once I've done that, I've got our measurement from the parapet side to the string. And what we want to do, we want to bring that down all the way down the other end of our string line. And we want to make sure that that measurement that we had at the start is the same for the parapet. Yeah, it is. So once you've got that all straight, it's time for the next step. Alright, so once we've set up our string line, we can go ahead and start laying our first roll of wool. So you can get yourself pre-cut like I have. Here's one I prepared earlier. We're just going to lay this one out. You want to make sure that you've allowed enough thing to note with this one, guys, is when we lay our wool, we just want to run out 20mm past our box cutter apron. Alright, so now that that's pinned in place, you can see that we're sort of hanging a bit too close to the string. So I haven't cut that back yet, but that's what I'm going to do now. I'll give you the gears after. Alright, so now that's all cut back. Made sure that it's 20mm running past that boxy apron. And you can see I've cut back a bit of the wool there. So we just do that, cut back about 100mm. Make sure you don't slice through the actual foil itself. You just want to take off that wool. The reason that we do that is just so that no water that can get under the sheets in really harsh weather catches onto that wool. So that's why we cut it off. Alright, so the next step now is to start installing the clips. What we want to do first though is have a look at the map and just make sure of the measurement that we're starting off the wall. In most cases it is 50mm, but it can vary from job to job. So you just want to make sure on the map that you're looking at it and you know what measurement that is. And then once you do, you're good to start. Here's a few clips prepared earlier. Again. Alright, so what I want to do, I like to start with my top clip. So the measurement that I'll be starting at is 50mm. So I'll do my top clip and then we'll put the bottom one on and it will square it up with the string line. Alright, so now I've got my top clip on there. What I want to do is grab a roof sheet that's inside. And we're going to place it onto that third rib there. And also in line with our clip that we've got down there. Alright, so we've got our sheet in place, so the way we like to sit it is just sit it in that groove there. So you're hard against this side there. Some people like to do it a little bit differently, but this is how we're going to do it today. So just sit it hard up against there. You come down, you want it to be the same down this end. So you can see it's the same, it's hard up. But what you need to do here, you're against the string line, so we just need to make sure that that's square. Now that just might mean that this end might not be 50. It might be 60, it might be 55, it might be bang on 50. But it doesn't matter as long as we are straight with our string line. So I'm going to get that square now, and then it's all good to bang the screws in that clip. What we'll do once we've done that, we'll just peel this up, slide a clip in there on our middle batten, and then we can screw that off. Alright, so we've put our clips in. Now what we're going to do is just slide the sheet over. We can start clicking in the ribs. As you're clicking them in, you just want to make sure that I like to keep it about 5mm, about 3 to 5mm off the string line. That way you can tell if you are running in or running out. That's a good distance to be able to see that instead of hitting the string straight away. So we'll just move this sheet over. And chances are, because of where we set the string up, we're not going to be able to clip in that first over on the bottom, but that is okay. We'll be able to get to that once we take the string line off at the end. So I've clipped in majority of those. I'm just going to come down and have a look. You just want to make sure that you are where you want to be. If you need to kick it down, you can kick it down. Pretty consistent all the way through, which is what we want to be. So then from there, you can start clipping out again. In this case, we'll need another length of wool. So we can do another length, start clipping out, and then keep sheeting. Alright guys, so just a bit of a brief recap. When we're setting up our first sheet, we want to set up that string line first, get us a straight line in the boxy. So I've come that 110 in, put the screw in, and then measured off the back parapet to get that measurement, and that's what will match it down the other end. So you want to make sure that you're matching the measurement from the parapet to the string and not from the sheet side, because that can change, and at the end of the day what you see after you've laid the roof is that gap between the end of the sheet and the parapet. So you want to make sure that that line is nice and straight. After we've set that up, we can get our insulation. Like I've done, I've pre-cut it, or if it's easier depending on the job to roll it across the roof, then there's also that option. Once we've done that, we look at our map, we see where our starting point is, what our starting measurement is, and then we make sure that we're following that. So once we've confirmed that, we can start with our clips. Like I've done, I've screwed on my top clip first, and that gives me the movement at the bottom to square it up to the string line. So I suggest that that's probably the easiest way to go with most jobs. But if there is an easier way depending on your job, then go for it. Once we've squared it up, you can chuck in your bottom clip, making sure that it's touching the same part of the clip as what the sheet was up the end. Even with a bit of 5-10mm play, that can cause you to run out with that first sheet. So you want to make sure that all parts of the sheet are touching the same part of the clip, and that way you'll get your best results when you lay it. So you've gone top, bottom, you can fill in any of your middle ones, and then once you've done that, drag your sheet over and clip it in. Yeah, once you've done that, you have a look at your string line. You want to make sure that it is perfect. You want that same gap, whether it's 3mm or 5mm. That's what I would recommend, but you want to make sure that that first one is perfect, and that way as you keep sheeting, you shouldn't have really many issues at all. Even if you are a mil or two out, it does creep, and it can cause you troubles a few sheets in. So try your best to get the first sheet down pat. Hope this has helped, and cue the music.